The sun dipped below the horizon as the first sparks of interest began to kindle in the hearts of our older male protagonists. They couldn't shake the lingering allure of an idea that had recently surfaced a desire to delve into the tantalizing world of bondage, discipline, and domestic drama with their own sultry partners. Their minds danced with images of beautiful, submissive wives entwined in ropes and chains, eagerly receiving the firm yet loving guidance their husbands so desperately craved. The older men knew that this was no ordinary undertaking. It would require patience, understanding, and a willingness to explore the uncharted territory of their own sensual desires. As they embarked on their journey into the unknown realms of eroticism, the husbands found themselves unable to resist the siren call of curiosity. They began researching various aspects of the lifestyle, from the soft touch of lace garters to the more intense sensations of leather restraints. Their newfound knowledge was a potent aphrodisiac that only fueled their passion further. Their wives, too, couldn't help but be intrigued by this sudden transformation in their husbands' interests. They found themselves captivated by the prospect of exploring these desires together and began to wonder what it would feel like to be bound, to be held captive by love itself. The power dynamics between our older couples took on a whole new dimension as they delved deeper into their shared fantasies. They discovered that the act of surrender, whether it was in the form of a loving spanking or a tender tie job, created a space where trust and intimacy could blossom. Through the delicate art of negotiation, these men learned to coax their partners into exploring their boundaries without ever crossing them. The women, in turn, found themselves embracing their own submissive side as they allowed their husbands to take charge, providing a sense of safety and comfort within their loving power dynamics. As the couples became more comfortable with their newfound desires, they began incorporating various forms of rope play into their repertoire. They experimented with simple gags tied around dainty fingers or elaborate harnesses that wrapped their bodies in a tangled web of desire. The older men reveled in the heady mix of power and vulnerability as they guided their wives through these new sensations. The women, too, found themselves captivated by the way the ropes seemed to bring them closer to their partners, as though the very fibers binding them together were weaving an unbreakable bond of love. In this newfound world of kinks and desires, discipline took on a whole new meaning. It was no longer just about enforcing rules or correcting behavior. It had become a sweet symphony of touch and trust between our older couples. They discovered that the act of receiving, whether it was a firm yet tender spanking or the gentle guidance of a rope-tied embrace, could be incredibly intoxicating. And as they surrendered to their husband's loving direction, they found themselves falling deeper into the abyss of passion, enveloped by the safety and understanding of their shared desires. As these older men and their hot wives continued to explore this tantalizing world together, they began to weave a tapestry of domestic drama that was as much about love as it was about the thrill of the unknown. They found themselves caught in a delicate dance between the push and pull dynamics of power exchange and the soothing embrace of surrender. The older couples realized that these fantasies were not just about fulfilling their deepest, darkest desires. They were also an opportunity to deepen their connection with one another, to create new memories built upon the foundation of trust and communication. And in this dance of love and kink, they found themselves more intimately connected than ever before. In the end, our older men embraced not just their desires, but also the power that love holds when shared with another soul. They discovered that by embracing their own kinks and exploring them with their partners, they had created a space where trust and intimacy could grow, binding them together in a beautiful dance of love. And so these couples continued to explore this world hand in hand, never losing sight of the powerful bond that tethered them together, a bond forged not just by ropes and chains, but by the unbreakable force of their mutual desire and respect. The older men and their hot wives couldn't get enough of each other. Their desires intensified, and they began to explore even more intense forms of play. They incorporated choking techniques into their makeout sessions, delighting in the power dynamics it created. They experimented with breath control during sexual encounters, pushing their limits further than ever before. As they ventured deeper into their fantasies, the couples discovered that the boundaries they had once thought held them back only served to fuel their passion even more fiercely. As their explorations continued, temptation took hold, and the idea of a threesome entered their minds. They debated the morality of it all, but couldn't deny the allure of adding another woman into the mix, one who could potentially fulfill both their desires simultaneously. The older men discussed what this new addition to their intimate encounters would mean for their relationship dynamic with their wives, and they ultimately decided that if they were going to explore this fantasy together, they needed to approach it with honesty, consent, and open communication. As the couples embarked on their new journey of exploration, they discovered a newfound intrigue in each other's desires. They found themselves drawn to the excitement of adding another woman into their passionate world, one who would join them on this tantalizing adventure. The older men and their hot wives began scouting potential partners, seeking out women with similar interests that could fulfill all their fantasies together. The process was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking, but ultimately led them closer to each other as they navigated this new territory hand in hand. Through the ups and downs of their adventure into the world of threesomes, bondage, discipline, and domestic drama, the older men and their hot wives found themselves even more deeply bound together by love. They realized that it wasn't just about exploring their desires, it was also about creating a space where they could grow as individuals within the safety of their intimate relationship. In time, they discovered that the power dynamics at play in their newfound world served not to tear them apart, but rather to strengthen their bond even further. And so they continued to explore together, bound by love and united by desire, forever intertwined in this beautiful dance of passion and intimacy. The end.